first of all, like what Bill said, thank you, Vintage House, for hosting this today and for working all the technical bugs out with us. So this is Fall Prevention Month, or Fall Prevention Awareness Month, and Bill and I really thought if we could bring something to you, those of you who are in attendance, you know, we might save you some agony and heartache, because you'll get some information that is so pertinent to aging in place, being, you know, over the age of, let's just say 25. And so we're going to go over, you know, how you can reduce your risk of falling, preserve your independence. It's all about preserving your independence. And you can see from this first slide, we're going to talk about who falls and why, and all of that, and some really great safety checklists that Bill has put together. He had a big homework assignment. So, and some tools and resources at the end. So we hope you stay till the end, because we have a lot of content here today. So, and I'm Dot Boyd, and I'm a senior safety specialist, and that's my focus. And that came out of really a situation with my mom, and I can tell you about that later. But what I want to talk about here is, you've all seen the commercials, right? I've fallen and I can't get up, and everybody rolls their eyes and makes fun of that little old lady, as they say, on the floor. It's going on for decades now. And it's kind of unfortunate that commercial has given a stigma to being older and maybe having a fall and not being able to get up. But I've fallen and I can't get up is no joke. And when you see the numbers, you'll see why. So slips and falls are the main causes of injury for older adults. Every 11 seconds, an older adult is treated in the emergency department for a fall. And that's, you know, 2.8 million per year. That's a lot of people falling, right? Every 11 seconds, that's about what just passed. And falls are the leading cause of fatal injury and the most common cause of non-fatal trauma with hospital readmissions or hospital admissions among older adults. So the bottom line is, every 19 minutes, an older adult dies from a fall, and you just don't want to be one of them. You also don't want to be a Humpty Dumpty who falls and can't be put back together again, right? So we're here to share some content on what you can do to reduce those risks of falling. And here are some other statistics that will kind of probably shock you, unless you know someone who's already gone through this. The average length of time a senior suffers on the floor or in the shower or in the backyard after a fall or a medical emergency is 18 hours, right? 18 hours shocked the heck out of me. For my mom, it was about half a day. She fell, she lost her balance getting out of bed, and she fell, and she shattered her shoulder and broke her hip. So if you think about, mom was 85 at the time, barely 5 foot tall, little thing, right? And feisty, but little. And there she was laying on the floor, hoping that somebody was going to come home early that day, because she couldn't move an inch. I mean, there was no way she was going to get to a telephone, even if it had been 2 feet away from her on the ground, which isn't very likely. So when you think about 18 hours, it's because for some people it's 6 hours on the floor. For some people it's 2 or 3 days. Another recent study shows that 80% of falls occur at home, right? We spend most of our time at home. And these days, because of increased isolation, we're sheltering in place. You're at home a lot longer, a lot more hours per day, most likely. And if you live alone, who knows, right? Who knows if you've fallen if nobody's coming over, or if you just talked to your best friend this morning and you don't talk again till tomorrow morning, if you've got a buddy system. So being at home and sheltering in place can be dangerous. So you want to think about that. And Bill's going to go over some of those things. And one of the reasons, you know, underlying all of this is we're all kind of in denial about our aging process and how vulnerable we are. I mean, I like to say that I'm not 25 anymore, and that's a reminder. I'm long past 25, you can tell that. But it's kind of a joke because my body's telling me all the time, I can't do what my brain thinks I can do. And that gets us into trouble. So this little comic here, Frank and Ernest, I love Frank and Ernest. And you know, the falling rock sign, right? But there he is all beaten up. And so falling does not rock in his world. So we just don't want to, be a statistic if we can help it. So here's some things you can do, right? Poor old Charlie Brown, what can I do? What can I do? So, and Bill's going to go into some of these things as well. But it's important to find a good balance and exercise program. Now, if you're going to exercise at home, please be very careful, because if you're alone, you don't want to be exercising and then you have a mishap, and then you're in trouble. And I know a lot of folks have been putting off going to the doctor for routine exams. I get it. I put off some things myself. We really do have to get our vision and hearing tested, and we need to have updated glasses and contact lenses. And if we're wearing hearing aids, or if we have hearing aids and we've invested in them, remember they only work when you wear them. So if you got them, there's a reason you need them, and wear them, because not being able to hear is a detriment to your safety. So think about the medications you take. You'll want to talk to your doctor or pharmacist, and you can do that by phone. And pharmacists are really the best when it comes to the side effects of medications, and even when you're taking multiples. So you want to make sure that your medications are not causing drowsiness or dizziness, because that can impact your steadiness on your feet or your ability to get up from a chair safely. If you're using a walking aid, a walker, a cane, make sure it's fitted properly, and make sure you use it and it's not just, collecting dust over in the corner. And speaking of that, make sure your shoes fit properly, and no thongs and no slippers like my mom was wearing the day she fell. And I told her those slippers would be the death of her, and they nearly were. So think about your feet, because a lot of it's like between your feet and your brain. That's all matters. So none of these flip flops and stuff, they're too dangerous. So just be a lot more deliberate when you're moving around. And these are just some of the things you can do. There's, many others, but this is a basic list. So look around your space. Okay, be honest. How much clutter do you have? Are you married to a clutter bug? Well, I kind of am. Uh-oh, I hope he doesn't hear me. But think about it. It could be mail and newspapers are kind of piling up on the floor, right? They've been there so long you don't even see them anymore. Maybe you've got some extension cords and electrical cords here and there. Those are such trip hazards. I mean, you could be looking around your house and you may not even realize the fall hazards that you have. So clutter really matters. And going along with your environment, how well lit is your house, right? Don't skimp on the lighting. Don't turn the lights off and be in a dark room. First of all, it's not great for your mood. And it's definitely not great for your safety. You want to see where you're walking. You want to have night lights, and even motion night lights are great. You just want to make sure that you've got good lighting in your house. And I leave a lot of lights on in the house. My dad was an electrician, and he always argued with my mom and said, hey, that's about the cheapest thing in the house, pennies per day. So for your safety, have lots of lighting going on. And then obviously grab bars in the shower, in the stairways, at the back of your house, in front of your house. And Bill will talk about that further. I'll tell you, in our house, we still have the grab bars up that we had for my mom when we took care of her. I love them. I rely on them. And the sooner you get used to using a grab bar, the easier it is to just automatically know it's there in case you need it. Because you don't think you need it yet, but it's nice to have, because anyone can slip in the shower. So think about, in your daily life, right? How are you prepared if you do fall, or if you have a medical injury? If you have an emergency of any kind, you're probably like most people, and you're thinking, well, I'll just call 911, right? I'll just pick up the phone, right, and call 911. Well, that's not going to help me right there if I've fallen, or my landline, which is sitting over there on the counter. So have a plan, but I will tell you that a phone is not a great plan. That's why people lay on the floor for hours and days and suffer. If you think about it, over the course of those 6 hours or 18 hours, well, you know, where are you going to go to the bathroom? The real things, right? Getting a drink of water, taking your medications. What if it's days and, you know, you also have a dog and a cat and a bird, you know, it's not just you, other, you know, others in your household need your help. So relying on a phone is a it's not your best plan, because think about if you fell and you broke your hip like my mom did. What if you slipped in the shower? You're not going to have a shower. You're not going to have a phone in the shower. No way. What if you're just going down to the mailbox to get the mail? You probably didn't take a phone with you. I sure don't. Or you're, you know, rolling out your garbage can, you know, Wednesday night, Thursday night, whenever it is. And that garbage can has a mind of its own, and it starts going down the driveway and you go with it. Well, you sure as heck didn't have your phone handy then, right? So, and what if you trip over your neighbor's dog or your own dog or a cat? Pets, we love our pets, but they're also fall hazards. And then there's the scary things like, you know, having a heart attack, or maybe blood sugar spiking or surging, or having a stroke. There's just no way to get to a phone in time in case of that, or a car accident, or if some awful person tried to grab you when you were out shopping. And of course, the scariest thing, if someone's trying to break into your house in the middle of the night, do you really want to turn on the light, put on your glasses, and look for a phone? I think that's just a difficult thing to try to do in a panic. So I want to just kind of give you that idea of your everyday life, minding your own business, living your life, protecting your independence. The phone is not the best plan. So I put together here some pictures of some examples of portable emergency alerts, because wearing something on your wrist or around your neck, you got to wear it though, but wearing something around your wrist is the safest way to go. Because if you're in the shower, if it's a good modern device that can be worn in the shower, swimming, doing the darn dishes, whatever, you want that, because if you've fallen for any reason, like I've discussed, you want to just be able to push a button, have an emergency operator come on the line, and with the most modern devices out there, there's a GPS locator in that device. So if you've taken it with you and you go down the street, you go shopping in the car, whatever, you're at Vintage House when it reopens and you need help, you push a button on your wrist or around your neck. Most people prefer a stylish wrist pendant. I know I do. And then the emergency operator can send help to you and notify your family or whoever's on your call list. Those are the kinds of things you want to do, because you just can't wear a phone on your wrist or around your neck and go in the shower, right? And then with the very good companies that provide these, your medical information is on file, your preferred hospital, all of these things that are very important to you getting the kind of care, your allergies to medications. These are very important things. So you can see there's all the different styles. You know, some are pretty and stylish and look like a Fitbit or a smartwatch, and some kind of look like what you've seen over the years. Just depends on what you're looking for. Then for some folks who prefer something really loud and not portable and it works in their home, and especially for someone with hearing loss, you know, profound hearing loss, or folks who just never leave the house without being accompanied by someone, then some of the home-based emergency systems would be good options. You can see several of them here. They all do about the same thing. The one in the middle also shows like a smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector, and so forth. But there's lots of add-ons with these. And these are good if you have a landline or a cable that can be used for these, that used to be just landline systems. Some things to think about depending on lifestyle. And when you're talking to a consultant about this, a good one would be asking you questions about your daily life and your medical concerns and so forth. And then there is automatic fall detection. So automatic fall detection, this is to give you an idea of what a fall detector looks like. They're worn around the neck, and they will detect a fall if you do fall and you're wearing it properly in most cases, but no one's fall detector is 100% foolproof. However, if you're prone to falling, this is a great add-on tool with the systems that have been shown. So just to tell you, all of you on the webinar, I'm a much more in-person kind of person. And since sheltering in place, we've all, kind of had to skip to the tune of Zoom. And now with PowerPoint presentation, to make it much more enjoyable for you versus just seeing our faces talking. So thanks for bearing with me. I would much rather see you in person. So I'm going to hand it over to my friend, Bill Essert, and he is a certified aging in place specialist, and he can tell you more. And he's got some great slides on how to stay safe and what you can do. So take it away, Bill.
Okay, thanks so much, Dot. But I'm just going to open with a little story of how Bill got into Bay Grab Bar. It's a kind of an interesting saga, and it really helps drive me in my Encore career here, living in Sonoma and helping people prevent falls throughout Sonoma, Napa, and Marin, and other pretty places. On the picture here, you can see my mom and dad, Mary and Bob. You can't quite make out that my mom's an amputee, but her right arm is missing. She had cancer, but they live in Arkansas. I was down there visiting about 2 years ago for a check-in, a holiday. And while we were there, we had an outing scheduled, a few outings, but this was near the end of my visit. And my mom and dad, I was going to drive them into Little Rock for a late afternoon sojourn. We're heading out the back door through a little breezeway towards the garage. As you can see, my dad holds my mom's hands pretty with a lot of service here. And that's the way they roll when they're outside of the house. Well, he stepped away to go check the garbage or the mailbox, I don't remember. And my mom took it upon herself, independent thinker that she is, and to make her way into the garage. And of course, there's a doorway. And in the case of their garage, and many of my clients, there's one or I think 2 steps in their house. Well, she didn't navigate the steps correctly, went face down. And as an amputee, really had no way to stop her fall, passed out. It was a mess. My dad and I were there, and ambulance, hospital, emergency, rehab, several weeks. And while she was getting better, and she is better, I had the opportunity to be in the home, between trips to the hospital to do some of what I enjoy doing, which is building. I was for 30 years, a contractor and a builder, and in historic preservation. And I was kind of looking for that next a shift in my own life. And I was doing hospice work at St. Joseph's and, spending time with them. Long and short of it is, I came back home and realized I had a very strong calling to continue to work with people to help them live independently and safely. And that's how my company was born. I'm a licensed contractor and as well as a certified aging in place specialist. So what that means for, let's see, it gives me a lot of input into people's homes and seeing them live their life and the issues that they have and how I can help them navigate those issues. So by way of that, I wanted to kind of go through a quick checklist. You can read most of these points, but I'll touch on some of them. As you may know, most falls happen in bathrooms, bedrooms in the night, or on stairs. And those are the areas that I concentrate my time. One of the positions that a lot of people don't think about is kind of getting in and out of the car or when you're approaching the house. So these are many obvious points. Park close to your door, make sure it's a clear pathway. Oh yes, don't forget about the ice on the walkway here in California. And but lighting, lighting comes up a lot. My eyes aren't getting any better, and many of my friends, the same boat. So don't be like, I think Dot was the father with the electrician, pretty cheap lights, particularly now with LEDs, the price to have a bright bulb is not so bad. I've got 4 fluorescent fixtures in my little tiny garage. That's how important it is to me. But they only sip electricity. So, you know, making sure there's handrails, they're steady, they're secure. You know, if you're unable to ambulate the stairs, to have a stair lift or handrail, we'll talk a little more about that. And obvious things like having doors that are wide enough to get through. And going into a living room area, these points a little different because we're inside the house. Seating is safe, maybe it has arms. Can you get in and out? Are the pathways, once again, clear of electrical wires, clutter, or cords? And once again, lighting comes up, light switches. Are they easy to reach when in the entry to the room? I like that one. And, you know, to Dot's point, having a telephone near and a remote control so you can make access of those as well. Now this last one comes up a lot, and people really don't like me talking about their throw rugs, but it's one of the first things I always bring up after I've developed a little bit of rapport with the people. Is that, you know, you're not going to like what I'm saying here, but these throw rugs, they got to go, and that's pretty much 99%. Well, 95%. There are, you know, if it's a must-have throw rug, the type that has a little bit of a rubber grip on the bottom, but it's very low pile. So they're really skinny. Those are much better. And I was so happy to go on a second call to a customer's house this week. And first thing he did, he dragged me to the bathroom. I was coming back to do a second phase. And he says, "Check this out, Bill." And lo and behold, he had a really tiny, very thin, beautiful carpet in the bathroom in front of the sink. Okay, so I'm going to kind of buzz through these. And by the way, this resource is going to be available to you, so you don't need to necessarily write all this down. Vintage House will be sending this back out to you, our presentation. So all these words and pictures you can refer to at your own leisure. I like this one. I think it's the fifth one. This is, I did not create this list. I put it together, but wear an alarm device. That'll bring you help in case you fall and can't get up. And it talks about step stools, how dangerous they are. And really, if you are going to use one, there are step stools that have handles on the sides or in the front that can give you some stability. But, you know, keep it low to the ground. It's kind of like the rules for the home health people. They're not allowed to take their feet off the ground. And there's 4 reasons for that in your case as well. Okay, bedroom, much of the same. Nightlight, just to highlight that, more lighting, slippery floor rugs, and telephone. Bathroom, this is really where I spend a lot of my time, in the bathroom, as I mentioned before, in the shower, in the tub, as far as grab bars and railings. And where do they go? How many? Typically a minimum of 2 in a shower or a tub, but I've put in as many as 4 or 5 in large installations, and I'll show you some pictures. Where do they go? Kind of right as you enter the shower or the tub, and then usually there's a longer wall, and along that wall, and then lastly up by the mixing valves, so there's something to be able to use. One thing you don't want to do with grab bars is ever reach. If you're reaching, that's a no-no, because it's the point of reach is when you have an uh-oh moment. Uh-oh is not a good place to be. Uh-oh is when you're unstable, and that's when the falls occur. So anyway, you can strategically place or have a professional place those bars and railings in places so they're just there, so you don't have to reach. That's kind of the magic sauce. Consider sitting on an armchair or a chair in the shower and adding a handheld shower. I do a lot of handheld showers, in fact. You know, Moen's a great brand. I'm a dealer, but this is an example of a handheld shower. You can't see the hose, but I just brought that along. This one's nice because there's kind of 2 elements to it: the regular shower, and then it also has a secondary shower, which is the one on the hose. So it works well in that regard. You don't have to use one for all because you got 2. I like the of twofer, and we'll talk about more of that in a minute. This fifth point about toilet seats, having a high boy toilet or an elevated riser, really wise as our knees are getting tired, or maybe you had surgery. It's less far to go up and downs. By having a little 4-inch riser can make a huge difference. And having the grab bar in the toileting area as well takes a little load off the quads and the lower extremities and allows you to share that load with your arms. I highlighted pull and push, and you're saying, what's that all about? In getting on and off the toilet, everybody's one or the other. It's kind of like peanut butter jelly, how do you make a peanut butter jelly sandwich? I love that story, but in this case, we're talking about toileting. And all of us have our own way that we've developed through life. You're either a puller to get off the toilet, using bars that pull you up, or you're a pusher and you use arms or a grab bar to push you up. So that's something to kind of be aware of. And once again, more lights. Stairs and steps. This is pretty obvious. Keeping things off the stairwell. I was at a client's home this past week. Beautiful home, long, tall stairway, and her husband was having some mobility issues going up and down the stairs, but at the same time, she had those cool little baskets that sit on the stairs. They have a little step, kind of like just wedges on the stair, but wow, great for carrying stuff and down the stairs, but also great for tripping on. And so I point these things out. Many times people don't want to hear it, but that's okay. Eventually it will sink in. Obviously loose handrails or steps that are not sound, bad thing, whether it's outside or inside. The possible of installing a stair lift is sometimes an option, certainly safe. And the ones today are more flexible, and they can fold up and out of the way, so you can still use the stair normally. And I like this last one, more about lights, having a glowing switch. At night, if you are wandering around, and having a switch that's lit makes it a whole lot easier to find it. And lastly it's an inexpensive fix, but it also helps with the contrast by having a bright strip at the top and bottom of the stairs. So if you're not counting stairs or have those habits, you can get some visual cues as well. Well, this is just a product spotlight. I just wanted to throw it out there before I show you some jobs pictures, but this is very interesting stuff. I'm a fall prevention ambassador with a company called Zebrio. And you see this scale here that this person is standing on. It's not really a scale, it's a magic scale. Well, it's actually a balance scale. So it measures the micro movements in the hundreds of muscles in your skeletal system. And then it feeds back with a number and gives you an objective number as to how is your balance. And then the tools of what to do about it, pretty straightforward. You probably know that already, strength, sleep, stress, all the things we always hear about. You can, get that feedback and then increase your score so that you get a better rating. And this will be shortly available. It's still kind of somewhat virtual, but as an ambassador, I'll have early access to that, and happy to share the thoughts about that. And there's a link also in the resource page later on. Okay, so a lot of people find reasons not to make their home safe. As we get older, we're maybe denial, maybe scared, maybe confused, or maybe the professionals around us didn't know what to do, or they weren't consulted. But so often people will approach me after the fact, and I implore people to call me before. If you have any hint, or it's just smart thinking to prevent that trip to the hospital. And who do you call? What do you look for in the company or the individual to give you some assistance in this area? And what kind of hardware to get, how to install it, Is there some reimbursables from insurance? And then the home care companies that are often in the house that I interact with, they may not have a resource, or they're just not know of it. They really just kind of like, well, call somebody, call somebody, look it up in the phone book, but who do you call? What? And um, and that kind of ties into kind of the perception of grab bars and railings of what I deal with is it's but that the way I look at it and share it with people is grab bars are the new seat belts. Remember when seat belts were just coming in and we kind of sat on them or kind of just sat in the car without them. Well, over time it's become reality, and we pretty much all of us wear them all the time, and I hope so. Um, and that's really where grab bars should come into play, and that's part of my preach here. Okay, I'm gonna get off the pulpit and show you some pictures real quickly here about some ideas to think about. I'm a picture person, 1,000 words here. There's different kinds of grab bars. These are what I call relatively standard grab bars, different colors. And these are all made, most of them made by Moen. And you can see the location here. We talked about an entry bar, one in the back wall. This one with this gentleman with a face mask, he's got a bar that wraps around the corner. He wanted something that was really sturdy and really covered the whole area, and it works there. In this triangle shower here on the right, I don't know if you can see my mouse, you can see there's 3 bars here. It's a very good sized shower, a couple horizontal bars, and once again, vertical bar. This is showing different colors. And this last picture on the right is showing a bar that's very useful when there's no wall to attach it to, when you really just need the bar to be floating there, but you still need it to be really strong. And these are all tied into the structure of the house, either through the tile or into the stud, or different ways to connect it. Couple just specialty rails that sometimes we get involved with, or I get involved with. This is a jam rail system. It doesn't require a post. It's very clean. It works really well in a situation like where my mom was, in her garage. I think had she had a railing like this, it would have prevented 3 weeks of hospitalization and rehab. There's simpler ones that do the same sort of thing, that are actually made out of oak, that are wood reinforced with steel. Sometimes I work in spas and pools, and this is really not a rail, it's called a pole. You can see this tub. How would you get in and out of that tub? It's like 2 feet down, and so it required us to have a floating, or what's called a standard pole, and this is a product that mounts from the floor to the ceiling. And then George here is showing a patio entry with wrought iron. One of the other problems with design, or with grab bars, is people say that they don't like the way they look. So there's two workarounds. They're either really pretty ones, which I call designer grab bars. And I brought a couple along here. This is one of my favorites. It's kind of elegant. It's called the Kingsley. It's a very nice detail. It's a beautiful finish on it. A little more expensive because it's fancy, but it takes away a little of that stigma. You can see some of these other pictures. Christine is here showing off her new chrome, a little more modern kind of deco bars. This dark colored one here is showing some grips on it, kind of an elegant lines. So different types of designer bars to get up beyond that. And then another kind of way to get beyond the stigma is, what else can a grab bar do? I mean, it has to be designed, number one, as a grab bar, but why not make one that holds a towel, since it needs to be basically in the same place? So this one enables the person to transfer into the tub, but it also is a nice place and a handy place for towels. The lower picture here, toilet paper holder. Wow. Properly installed into the structure, that thing will maintain 350 pounds, no problem. But it enables you to hold the toilet paper and kind of keep a clean look. A shelf. Why not have an extra shelf in your shower? This is actually in my shower here. And wanted to have a place to just stabilize. Showers are slippery. Um, you know, you're in there early in the morning, maybe there's medication still or whatever. Um, so those are different ways to help satisfy that urge of having bars. The other thing I spend a lot of time with outside and inside are handrails. And I'm just kind of running a little quickly because I'm just about out of time here. We want to leave time for your questions. And this is just showing off different types. These are steel. This is wrought iron, a custom bar on just down the street from Vintage House on Patton Street. This one here with the icon looking over it is a component system out of aluminum. We do wooden rails as well. I have some manufactured rails that are very nice, also wrought iron. So quite the gamut when it comes to handrails. Whew. I'm gonna take a quick brief and tell you about what's coming up because we've had a lot of fun doing this today and I wanna continue to have fun with your questions. But I want you to also think about if you enjoyed your time today to save the date. About a month from now, we're not gonna be celebrating the entree of fall. We're gonna be celebrating Aging in Place Week or Aging in Place Month, which is October. And it's recognized, not a holiday, but time of the year. And I think many of us are passionate about this topic and Dot and I are for sure. And we're gonna bring that to you through the Vintage House on October 20th, at the same time, same place, maybe a different link. And also refer to the resource list that's included here in the PDF, which will be sent out to you. It's got our contact information as well as some national resources. And lastly, a link for that ZBRO product if you're interested. There's actually a free app. You don't even have to have the scale device. The app is really good lessons to stay on track. And with that, I'm going to just kind of shift gears here and together, Dot and I are going to see if there are questions or feel free to put them in the question and answer section. Bring it on and hopefully we can answer your questions. When you think about some of the people that come into Vintage House and that are looking for some help as for a resource or maybe you identify the fact that they might need a little help around the house with balance, etc. How does that really play into your life at Vintage House?
Well, we usually recommend counsel on aging because they have social workers that can help them through that. And then we do have a resource person, Susan Holzer, that can help them with any other questions. We have a group of people from Sunrise Rotary that will come out and help you do some light house, like housework, maybe painting a fence or removing debris. And they're a group of volunteers that have teamed up with us. We also have share housing we can recommend, which is in case you are home alone and you have an extra room that you can rent out. That place connects people to different, if there's an interview process and they connect you to a home or connect you with someone that can live with you, and that can come out as either rent or them helping you, maybe cooking. There's all kinds of ways that can help.
Nice.
Yeah.
Looks like some questions came in. I think.
That's a question.
Yes.
I can address those, but also point out on the screen with the blue banners with our email addresses or website. Many of these questions are probably listed there too, so you can refer and cross-reference. But I know at the Bay Grab Bar site, there's some of these questions, but I'm going to do my best to answer them. And I'm sure Dot has some resources on her website too. I'm just going to go in order here that came through on the question. I'll read the question first and then reply. Do you know anyone who has done a tub conversion as opposed to buying a brand new walk-in unit? So when I think of a tub conversion, there's kind of two different ways to go. One is a cut into your existing tub where you can keep your tub and basically put a dam unit that cuts into the tub and allows, instead of having to step over 2 feet, or so maybe you're only stepping over 6 inches. That's a product that's out of Canada. And so it's very viable. And, you know, if you want to know more about it, I can talk to you about that. The other conversion, there's a company I'm aware of called Best Bath out of the Midwest. I believe they're in Ohio, and they make a modular tub or shower conversion. So you take the tub out, and then you put a shower in. It's like 5 pieces. It comes in a pallet. You really need a couple trades. You need a plumber to kind of retrofit the plumbing a little bit, and then you have to do demo, and then the install of the unit, which is really suited to a contractor or perhaps a other trade. If do it yourself is possible, there are videos, but it's, you know, it's somewhat involved, but it's less than 2 days work in my estimation if you have the trades available. Much easier than building a shower unit, custom unit from the ground up. Much faster. Cost wise, probably 6 to 10 grand is a guesstimate. Do you install grab bars that do not require screwing or mollies, etc.? Well, first of all, I'll speak to the suction cup ones. Those don't require screws or mollies, but they're not really grab bars and they're not safe. And my mothers have fallen off the wall many times. So first of all, I kind of do this when I see those things. And so those don't require screwing or mollies, but I wouldn't put one in my house with a 10-foot pole. They're maybe the only place they're viable is if you're traveling and you want to have something with you if you're in a hotel and you're kind of desperate. But other than that, they don't work on many materials. You know, keep in mind, like tile, it's got all cracks and stuff, or it's porous. How's that really gonna end? You know. Okay, so but playing into that, the bars that I install at Bay Grab Bar are attached with screws and are highly engineered mollies that are each screw is rated at 265 pounds, and I put multiple screws in each bar. So, but they're all tied into the structure one way or the other, whether it's in the stud or behind the wall. Hope that answers that question. Where do you get information to portable emergency devices? I'm going to hand that one off to Dot.
Hi there. I know anonymous. Hi there. Yeah, you can reach out to me. I can give you information about electronic caregiver devices. Those are the ones you saw in the picture that look like smartwatches, and I can also give you, you know, some resources to do some homework on other brands. So reach out to me. My phone number is 916-799-1660, or send me an email. That's all there on the page. And then I can get you some information. But you're wise to want to know about them. Absolutely. Thanks for asking. And I see, Mary, you have something I haven't heard of. It says, I have a silicone lanyard for my phone so I can wear it around my neck most of the time. My husband is hearing impaired, but the phone rings through his hearing aids. Well, you know what? You've got some good things going on there. I would imagine the hard part is wearing some of these while you're sleeping. And I don't know if you can wear them in the shower. And do they work if there is any emergency alert involved? Does it work when you leave the house? So for folks who are very independent and still leaving the house, driving, shopping, walking, just enjoying your life, going out for fun where you can, right, with our sheltering in place, you want to have a portable device. If you're much more homebound, then sometimes the landline services are best. So, but it sounds like you've got some neat things going on. You might want to, you know, have an assessment to see if you need more safety. assurances with devices. I just don't know exactly the limitations of what you have. And Bill, there's one for you about the balance
Oh,
scale.
oh yeah. How much does the balance scale cost, and is it a good investment? Well, the price, there's two models. There's a pro model and a homeowner model, and there's very little difference between the two of them. I think my recollection is the lower cost one is around $300, and the higher cost one is maybe $450 or $500. As far as an investment, if it prevents a fall, I'd say it's a great investment. I mean, it's like, I equate anything that you can do to prevent that trip to the hospital, and whether it's a broken hip or whatever, is a great investment in my book. It's a lot cheaper than going to the hospital, time, emotion, and everything else that goes for you and for your family members, et cetera. So, it was developed with NASA. So if you go to their website, you can read about it. It's really a great story, and the founder of it, Dr. Forth, is quite on top of her game. And I'm, as an ambassador, really happy to be partnering with him. And let's see.
I think those were all the questions. Yeah, and I like to just say a couple things, Bill, then take it over from there. All of you who are on this program today, thank you so much. You're being proactive. That's the key. Much of what we've talked about today are really kind of like insurance policies. You ought to have them, and in some cases you've got to have them. And boy, you're so glad you do have them if you need them, right? Because most of the time, at least for me and what I do, and I help people with their personal emergency alerts of all types, mostly I'm called in after there's been a crisis and after someone has had to be hospitalized and even gone to skilled nursing, which is like everybody's worst nightmare, right? And if they'd had the ability to get help immediately, their life would be different, and they would have recovered much more quickly in most cases. And sometimes, people don't know until it's too late. So think about folks you care about who need to know about safety, because Bill and I will get on a Zoom with anyone and talk about safety and even share a lot of this information. At least I will. I do this all the time, and I'll volunteer bail, but anywhere we can be helpful, because everybody wants to stay in their own home and stay independent, and there are tools and resources. You just got to know what they are. So thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a question and answer it, because it's one of those obvious questions and you just alluded to it. Thank you, Dot, for planting the seed regarding virtual meetings. Imparting this information today is really an honor, and certainly we're very thankful for the Vintage House to helping us get this word out. Very, very, very honored. But in addition to that, on the one-on-ones that I do with customers, they call, and first thing I do is, well, let's have a conversation. We'll talk a few minutes, and then I'll ease into, we'll do a FaceTime, or can you do a Zoom call? And then I can actually, get to their home in a matter of seconds and answer their questions in person. They can walk me around the challenging areas, and maybe we'll spend a half hour on the phone easily. And by the end of that call, they understand what's going on, the price of things, some of the aesthetics that they might be concerned about. And then we've had a chance to build some trust, which is so important when you're embarking during these trying times. It always is, but in particular now, it's we have to be extra safe. Dot and I, we're in the safety business, so we walk that walk and do our best to talk that talk as well. So. Anything else from you, Jade? Thank you for hosting and being here for us.
Yeah, thank you both for coming and presenting today. This was great. I found it very informational, and I bet you everyone else did too. So
Okay.
I will be sending out this PDF to everyone that signed up today. So thanks for everyone for joining us.